As you hear sounds coming up in your head,
Hey everybody!
simply listen
It's
to them
Saturday
as
morning.
part of the general
Welcome to
noise
the
going
Saturday
on.
edition of
A
Tea Time
suitable
with Bellydancers of Color Collective.
the
It's your
so-called
girl
outside
Adina.
world
I'm in here
and
with
the
my girl
so-called
Leila, and
intimate
welcome
coming
to
Hello.
together.
have an extra special treat. We have Lady Dane. Lady
They
Dane
are a
gracing
handicap.
our studio, our virtual studio today.
It's simply
Lady
handicap.
Dane, welcome, girl. How you doing?
Child, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Today is my birthday. So I'm excited to, I'm excited to um, be here, living, loving, laughing, talking about art, making art. Um, so yeah, hanging out with my sisters. Um,
Happy birthday.
yes, thank
Yes.
you,
Hey,
thank
we did
you,
not
thank you.
know what a perfect, auspicious day for us to sit with you on the day you came to be.
Lady Dane is an Aries.
What?
You can tell. Yeah, I mean, when you
Oh,
know
we can
me, like
tell.
you can.
Oh, we can tell. You dance like an Aries, okay? And we love it. We love it. So let me just say, Lady Dane will be with Belly Dancers of Color this coming Friday, the 15th of April, hosting her third Feminine Fire with us. And it's called Honeyed Hips. And Hunty, the hips is sweet. Those hips are so sweet. They are so, so sweet. So we wanted the people to have an opportunity to learn about all the marvelousness that is Lady Dane. They hear us talking about it, but to hear it come directly from your mouth, it's going to be fire. So tell them, I know you're in New York right now. Tell them what you're doing in New York. You know, we know you're a writer, you're a dancer, you're a performer. You're like, you're totally the performer's performer because you do everything. I mean, you really do. You're one of those, okay? So
The
talk
whole package.
the whole entire package, y'all. If you don't know, you're about to find out, and then you're gonna get your ticket and come check her out this Friday at Fitness for Less in Bowie. So, Lady Dane, tell the people a little bit about Lady Dane. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Lady Dane, I am an artist, right? I'm a priestess. I believe that art is a sacred vocation. I believe it's a sacred calling, and I think it's a sacred gift.
Ashe.
Um, and I think that we can utilize it to heal, we can utilize it to disrupt oppressive systems. We
Mhm.
can heal it to dismantle those internalized and systematic
Mhm.
oppressive systems. Um, and we can use it to also be in community with one another. Like art is a weapon. It is a healing tool. It is a, as they say, a bomb that, when they talk about Jesus, they talk about a bomb in Gilead.
Yes, they do.
Like this healing ointment. I believe that art truly, truly, truly is an incredible gift. And specifically for this class, dance, I think about, our sisterhood, and we've known each other a very long time, and how, um, that sisterhood really, 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 and very many times in my life helped to, um, helped to see me through a lot of things. So,
Leila,
so the
I'm gonna ask Leila, do you remember the first class you took with Lady Dane back in our Mama Seat today? So, like Lady Dane said, we go back more than 10 years dancing together.
Yeah.
We don't have to age ourselves, right? Because we're ageless kind of excuse. But we go back more than a decade. That's all they need to know. We got history. We got history. We go back like Cadillac seats, okay? So, Leila, when did you dance with Lady Dane? Like, do you remember dancing either Afro-Cuban or belly dance with her? What did you think?
I actually watched her perform in one of the bocas before we danced together, and I was mesmerized. It was Afro-Cuban dance, and she inhabited what touched her spirit, and she was on there, and I got shivers. I was just like, goosebumps. I was connected. in that
Yeah.
moment. And I was like, oh my God, I need to, you know, be in that space. I need to be in that space. We did some work with Greg after that. And then she showed up in belly dance class, and I was like, yes, honey. And she put on that music, and I watched her move, and I was just like, that's my sister.
Yes.
That
When
is my
Dane,
sister.
when Dane came to teach, you put your Bengay on before class started, okay? Because Dane gonna drop into your knees. Dane not gonna stop. Dane gonna take you to the spiritual place that she's talking about. When I danced with you, Dane, you were going through initiation and it felt so spiritual. You know, your head was shaved at the time, you had your beads on, but you hit us all with the proverbial ponytail, honey. I mean, the ponytail was like wet, wet. I was like, ooh, I felt, oh. You were acting as you were dancing. You personified the Orisha. Everyone felt you. If you were in the room with Dane when Dane was dancing, whether she was teaching or not, you felt Dane. And that's all I can say about you. I've always felt you. And I want to say thank you for that, because you up-leveled everybody who's in your presence. And I thank you for that. I thank you.
It's community. It's community. You know what I mean? Like y'all inspired me, right? Like as well. I mean, you know, y'all are my big sisters. And so watching y'all dance and, you know, having y'all lead the line and like, and everyone has such different essence. But everyone was phenomenal.
Yes.
And it really is a life lesson, right? That like everybody can be phenomenal and everybody can be phenomenal together.
Yes. It's not like either or, it's both and, it's all of us.
Right,
Yes.
right. It was, I mean, just absolutely beautiful. So that it really, really, really does touch my heart to hear y'all say that. Because I was, I'm a little sis, so
Yes, yes. You were shy outside of off the studio floor, but on the floor, hunty, please, 5, 6, 7, 8.
right.
Here she
And
comes.
so listen, now that I'm a little bit older, we might not be doing as many dropping down and getting our eagles on.
Okay.
But we might do about 1 or 2 in class on Friday.
Okay, we can take 1 or 2. We ready, but we're gonna have the Bengay on first. I'm here to tell you. We might pass it out at the door. Go on, put this on your back, put this on your knees. It's gonna be all right.
Little pain management.
I'm so excited. I am so excited to be dancing with y'all again. You know, Honeyed Hips really did come from, oh my goodness, it says the internet connection is shady. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. You know, Honey Hips really did come from, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. It, you know, Honey Hips really did come from both kind of like the musicality of dance that I developed there, and that was inspired by what we were being taught, and also thinking about the ways in which Black people throughout the diaspora, like honey, wherever we go, wherever we at, there is a universal language in our movements.
Yes.
And so, you know, that Honey Hips really is about like finding the sweetness of your own movements, right? And finding that ancestral connection and that communal connection to what that means exactly. And so, yeah, and you know, it can look different for everybody, but it can also be sweet.
It is sweet. It is sweet. So tell me this, because we've known each other so long, but I really don't know much about your history. When did you start dancing? Like, when did you fall in love with dance? I know it's been a long time because of how you do it, but tell us about your beginnings as a little dancer, little Dane.
Oh my goodness. So as a little kid, I took tap dance when I was very young. I went to a school that my mother had to pay for me to go there. And then at that time, I remember my mother lost her job, and so she could no longer afford to send me to this special school. Um, and I remember that, the day when I had to like leave the school, and yeah, I know, right? And I was like crying. But I grew up in a family of artists. Like everyone in my family did some kind of art, even if they didn't make art their profession. So I had an aunt who was a jazz singer and an academic, and an advocate. And then like everyone in my family either sang, wrote, or danced. And then some folks could do all of it, right? Like,
Like
and
you.
so growing up, we danced salsa at home. We did hand dance. We did I remember putting on like videos at home and like trying to learn the dances of the folks. Also, my mom and my aunties would take me to go watch like Broadway shows that would come to the Lyric Opera in Baltimore, or would take me to go see ballets and things like that. So I grew up really surrounded by understanding the healing power, and the and the unifying power of dance. So yeah, so it has been a part of my life since even before I was thought into being in this lifetime.
Okay. That's amazing. So Baltimore native, huh? Baltimore's
In this
finest.
lifetime, yes, honey. So
Sitting with B Moore's finest right here.
yes,
Wonderful.
Baltimore. Shout out to Baltimore. Hey, y'all.
Right, right. You don't speak like a Baltimore person. I'll just say it that way.
Oh,
She's
what you?
been
Oh,
all
you mean I was?
over.
Right. Is it because I don't say like two or dog Doug?
That's the one,
Doug.
Doug. They both want you to say Doug. Right. And
But
Doug for everyone else.
Layla's right though.
No. Mhm. Say that
Layla
again.
is right though. No, I was
Mhm.
saying Layla is right though about like me having been all over. And then like when you're trained in the arts, right? Like especially, but I think that as we grow older, right, we understand code switching, we
Yes.
teach code switching, but we understand that like we can live beyond feeling the need to code switch.
Okay.
And I think that when we were growing up, however,
Yes.
I think that like code switching was really, 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 I think our elders believed that it was a way for us to be successful um, globally.
Yes. I think the arts
I'll
is
say it like that.
the ultimate code switch because as you embody different characters, you can't necessarily be who you are as that person, but you code switch. You have to switch to whatever situation you're in. So it sounds like a beautiful medium for us to become whatever we decide. So Dane, that's amazing. So tell the people about some of the projects that you're working on. I had the pleasure of seeing you recently on Arena Stage in August Wilson's Seven Guitar, playing the role of Ruby, the seductress. Girlfriend entered the stage in the red dress, gloves, and fur. I mean, she was not playing with the people, just hit the stage. I was like, okay. Tell the people about some of the fabulous things you've been doing over the last few years.
Yeah, that was, playing Ruby was really, really phenomenal. I, I think we all grew up, right, hearing about how awesome August Wilson was and how, um, in the theater world, August Wilson is thought to be, one of those playwrights that are up there in the canon, like, that is like a Shakespeare, right? Like is a classical playwright who when you do August Wilson, it's like, oh, you have arrived, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was really, really, really a pleasure to play Ruby and Seven Guitars. Um, I think that we know lots of Rubies in our lives, and I also think that sometimes she gets an unfair rap, right? I think that she is truly, truly, truly a Black woman trying to survive in a world that is for her and her friend group and her family, like that is cruel to Black people. And so she is trying to figure out like how to make a life for herself and for her family. And she, you know, she utilizes her own gifts in order to whatever those may be.
Exactly. We know
Okay.
what we know what those gifts are.
Okay.
Just like Porgy and Porgy and Bess, you know, Bess and Porgy and Bess, you know, that character. Or Dorothy Dandridge and, you know, the one with Harry Belafonte, that same Carmen, you know, it's that character.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just, we know what the
So
gifts
you
are.
know she's doing what she's got to do, honey. She's doing what she's got to do in order to get what she's got to get.
That's what she do.
Right. And so that was really great to do that. The cast was amazing. I think Arena should remount that one day with that same cast and that same creative team. I did Clytemnestra a few years ago, pre-pandemic, which I also wrote, which was super, super exciting. And I won a Helen Hayes for that in 2020. Yeah. Best, I believe it was best new play was the category. Yeah. So that was really, really awesome. I'm currently working on a version of Medea that is a 7-person show where Medea is essentially going through her life in memory. It's kind of a memory play. And she's trying to work out, for anybody who doesn't know who Medea is not Tyler Perry. Medea is a figure in classical Greek mythology, and Greek storytelling. She was a princess, she was a priestess, she was a witch, she was a sorceress, and she essentially helped. If y'all heard about Jason and the Argonauts, she's the one who helped him get the fleece. Without her, he wouldn't have been able to succeed in what he was doing. And then he was shady. And after they had some kids and got married and lived together for a while, he wanted to go and, you know, chase after a pretty young thing. So Medea had to teach him a lesson or 5. So
Hey.
So in my version of the show, it's really dissecting a lot of her, taking a lot of her storytelling that's outside of the Euripides story, but in some of the ancient different versions of Medea and the ancient storytelling, and piecing them together to make a story where she is essentially vindicated. And it's really about her and her trying to make sense of not just her place in the world, but why she would go to such lengths for this particular man who wasn't worth it. And what does that mean for her own healing at the end of her life, right? So I'm working on that play. And then yeah, a whole bunch of working, choreographing Color Purple, doing a whole bunch of other things. Yeah. Super excited.
Will those things premiere in New York? Will they travel to DC, Baltimore? How can people see you?
In DC. Right now I'm in New York. I'm shooting a short film. I don't know if I can like say what the short film is yet because I just wrapped on my scenes, but I'm really, really excited about this particular film because of all of the incredible work that was done by the writer. The piece is written by Danye R. Love. And I actually just was in another piece that was written by Danye R. Love called I Need Space, in which I play a doctor, a therapist in that one. So that's exciting. You can find that on Broadstream.
Okay.
This short film, I play the sister of the lead character. She's bad and bougie. And
love it.
So yeah, and you can also, like, I've written 14 books, so you can actually, like, if anybody is interested, you can go to my website, www.ladydanefe.com. That's Lady Dane, F as in Figueroa, E as in Edidi.com. And you can pick those up as well. So lots of things, working on lots of things. And then of course, like teaching the workshop on Friday.
Yes. So Lady Dane, I didn't realize you had written 14 books. That's amazing. I have 2 of your books. I didn't realize we were at 14 already. Leila, what the heck are we doing? Like, we need to get some
We
books out.
slow, we behind.
Lady Dane ain't sleeping on nothing, from the dancing, from movies, arena stage, 14 books. I mean, good grief, this is amazing. Lady Dane, you're also very vocal about the trans community and trans issues. I'd like for you to share right now with our audience what you'd like people to know about trans artists and how we can be supportive of your movement. So speak to us about that. And I know it's something that's very near and dear to your heart. So please take the floor.
Yeah, as I think about the history of trans people, trans expansive people, like gender expansive people in the world, I recognize that we have always existed, and that it was actually colonization and white supremacy that attempted to not only erase our presence and contributions from history, but from the world now, right? That they're still trying to attempt that. But that those oppressive systems and ideologies and the folks who perpetuated them also tried to create divisions between trans people and their communities. One thing that was really, really, really beautiful for me, and really, really affirming for me, was when I chose to specifically medically transition, how, our sisterhood was one already before any kind of medical transitioning. I was already embraced for the woman I was, and for the woman that I am, right, and for the woman that I will become. That I was seen as the goddess that I am, and loved for that, and honored for that. And so, like, for me, I know that it is possible for there to be healing in our communities as a whole, right? For there to be reconciliation between trans people and our cis siblings. However, I must acknowledge that there is a lot of healing and dismantling of internalized oppressive systems that must happen in order for that reconciliation, and that love to truly transcend what white supremacy has told us that love should look like, or told us our relationship should be. And so for me, as someone who was embraced in love, who is embraced in love, not just was, is embraced in love, right? And will be embraced in love. Sometimes you got to be clear with the universe. I think that my worldview is a little bit more expansive than what we are told on the news the relationship to trans people in the world can be. As I'm also a historian, which is something that, like, y'all know about, right? Like, a lot of my books, I do a lot of research. It's like, a lot of research when I'm writing them. And it's very clear that trans women and cis women actually worked side by side in the temples together. That those who we call trans women now were seen, were honored, and were believed to be exactly who they are, which is women, and that there was no jealousy, and there was no competition, and there was no kowtowing to patriarchy. Women were loving and protecting. Oh my goodness, I like that.
Look at that.
I'm in a hotel, child. Hold on. Let me see. Let me turn the light back on. And
universe had to cut the light on and off.
Hey, girl. I think the light for some reason is on a right. Had to give me a spotlight. Right.
Nice.
And it's like, we don't have to kowtow to what white supremacy has told us our relationships to one another have to be, right? We don't have to give in to patriarchy and feel like not only that we're in competition with each other, right, but like that we're in competition with any kind of woman, right?
Or man, for that matter. We're not competing.
Right, right. And so for me, what I want folks to think about when they think about the trans community, I want folks to understand that the things that we are told about trans people in the media, um, I would say check your sources.
Mm.
If it's the same people who would have attempted to enslave your ancestors telling you that trans people are bad, then you probably shouldn't listen to those people about what they say about trans people. If it's the same people who are telling Black people that they don't have the right to reparations, all of the et cetera, right? Like that they don't have the right to life, then you probably shouldn't be listening to what those people say about trans people. I want people to understand that really trans people have been at the forefront of so many liberation movements, particularly those for Black liberation. I think about people like Frances Thompson, who was the first trans woman who was reported to be the first trans woman in the 1800s to um, testify before Congress, and that she was living with, being loved by, and loving on Black cis women, and that the same pain and trauma that was endured by those Black cis women, Frances also endured that trauma. Frances also fought for liberation. Frances also stood up before a racist, white supremacist United States Congress and said, Black women deserve liberty. Black women deserve to have agency and autonomy over our bodies. Black women deserve the right not just to live, but to thrive, right? Like not just to survive, but to thrive. And that was a Black trans woman in the 1800s. And when we actually go back and we look at historical Black trans people living in Black communities, their communities understood that these Black trans women were women and that they were essential members of the survival of our communities. When we look at the role that Black trans women played in African cultures, those who we would call Black trans women in African cultures, they were priestesses, they were shamans, they were healers, they were medicine workers. And that when colonists came to indigenous Africans and their communities, they intentionally targeted trans people and gender expansive folks because they understood what it took to attempt to destroy a people. And because trans and gender expansive people were essential to the survival of those people and essential to the survival of those cultures and the thriving of those cultures, colonizers intentionally went after those people and then tried to demonize them. But I'm here to say today that, a liberated world is possible. A world free of oppression is possible. Black liberation is possible, but not without Black trans people.
No, we all
include.
Yes,
everybody's got to be there.
Yeah.
And so it is so deeply important for folks to really, really, really think about who taught them to hate their own reflection, who taught them to hate their own skin, who taught them to hate women.
We have a church.
Y'all. She passionate.
Like, who tried to strip their gods from them? Who tried to tell them that their gods were not Black?
Right.
Who did that to them?
Right.
And then they should make a choice. Should those people who tried to do all those things to them, should those people be the ones who you're listening to about trans people?
No.
Or should we actually, right? Or should we actually in these conversations, should we actually in our community conversations be centering and celebrating Black trans people for the incredible work, not only that we are doing, but that we have done and that we will continue to do? Because the minute that we literally have imagined ourselves into being, we have chosen to subvert and to dismantle white supremacy. They tried to kill us and they did not succeed. And our very existence today is proof. is proof that we belong. Trans people exist because our ancestors existed. And before I was ever here, my ancestors dreamt me into being. And when I chose to exist outside of what white supremacy told me that I should be, I literally dreamt myself into being. Like, to be here today before y'all, it took the great power and magic and gift of expansive imagination, which is a gift I believe all Black and Indigenous trans people have.
Yes.
And that is why we can lead in the fight for liberation, because we have already tapped into that thing that is innate to Indigenous peoples across the world, which is that we imagine a future for ourselves beyond the oppression. We imagine a future of ourselves beyond what white people have told us we can be. We are more than the lies that white supremacy have told on us. We are actually gods, goddesses, magical beings. We are made flesh.
Yes, I got to shake on that. Yes, yes.
And we more than belong. We more than belong. We are essential. We are essential. And we deserve to be loved.
Oppression anywhere is oppression everywhere. Everyone deserves a seat at the table. It doesn't matter. This thing about gender doesn't have to do with genitalia. It's energy. We all have masculine and feminine energy, and it's however it manifests in you. Lady Dane, it manifests beautifully in you. We love you. You are us. We are you. We are your reflection. And as you guys can see, Lady Dane is passionate, y'all. This is a mission that's true to her heart, and she is out on the forefront for the transgender community. And we want to say we're behind you, we support you, and ashe, sis, ashe.
But you already know we love you. You already know we love you from the beginning.
Listen, and let me tell y'all something, like it made a difference. And it made a difference. It made a difference. It made a difference. And you know, they say, how you know, and it's like because I lived it.
Yes.
I lived what it means, you know, I am living what it means to actually have sisters and community around you who love you.
Yes.
And so I understand how transformative that can be for someone's life, and how essential that can be for someone's not just survival, but thriving.
Yes.
And so I do a lot of work with the Black Trans Prayer Book. We do a lot of work around teaching, you know, how to heal from religious trauma, and how to discern, right, when it is white supremacist ideologies invested and infused in places. So there's a book that I co-edited with Jay Mace III, my brother, my friend, and it's called the Black Trans Prayer Book. So you can find that on the blacktransprayerbook.org. And it is really, really, really a beautiful book with over 21 Black contributors, spirit workers, advocates, those who are of faith and those who do not believe there is a God, right? Like, and it is truly a healing tool. So folks can also check that out as well.
We'll put links to all of your goodies at the bottom of this video, and you have so many. So thank you so much for that, Dane. What we're also hearing you say is lead with your heart. If you're not sure about it, go to the heart chakra, lead with your heart, and then let's go down to the hips, baby. Let's talk about the hips again, because we healing it, we shaking it out, and we moving through. And that's what we're gonna do on Friday. Friday, the 15th of April at Fitness for Less in Bowie. Dane will be presenting the wonderful, amazing Honey Hips Masterclass. It's open to all. It is a fusion of Afro-Cuban, belly dance, modern dance, and it's literally for everybody, all shapes, all, just everybody. So give them a couple words on that, and we're gonna rock on out of here, because they can come and check you out on Friday and get one of these books and hop on the website for more information. So tell us what they're gonna do.
So please come, you know, it's you know, you don't just have to stick to one artistic expression. So even in dance, right, it's like you don't just got to stick to one. So, you know, we're going to get some, just like you said, we're going to get some Afro-Cuban. We might get some house, right? We might get some house.
Leila's a house head, y'all. Leila, New York house head.
There might be, you know, there might be some twerking that happens. Hey. So if you've always wanted to do some twerking, come on down and get you some twerking. Of course, there'll be belly dance. And there'll be a little bit of modern too. Yeah, I think, you know, we fuse all of these dances together because we truly are able to hold complexity and to be beautiful, expressive, and complex beings. So yeah, like, you know, why have our dance be so simple, honey, when it can be, you know, it can be as expansive as we are.
And that's what African Caribbean dance is.
It's fun.
Absolutely. So shout out to the elders, shout out to the ancestors who taught us that we are allowed to be as expansive as we want to be.
So Leila, you have any final questions for Lady Dane or anything you want to say about your experience with her?
No, I was going to ask about her advocacy for the trans community, and you read my mind. As usual, we are in sync, and you asked the questions I wanted to hear.
Yeah, Leila speaks to me through telepathy. You know, in my dreams, I wake up and be like, oh, let me call Lay. Oh, you know, like spidey senses are tingling. Oh, you know, that's really how we function.
Mm-hmm.
Feel each other. So that's the feminine. It doesn't always have to cooperate through mouth, through word. It's through feeling. And so we feel you, Lady Dane. We feel you, we love you, we appreciate you, and we can't wait to dance with you again on Friday. So Lay, take us out with this music. As always, please follow Bellydancers of Color. You can like, subscribe. You can find us on social media, on YouTube, on Facebook, on IG, Bellydancers of Color Collective.com. Come on out, y'all. We expanding.
We also have our pages for Soulful Hips and Got More Hips. So please follow us on Facebook and IG.
Hey! Yeah.